2 weeks ago, we had a guest speaker come to our staff conference. That's something that we run every sort of 3 months or so. We get the whole team together, have guest speakers, and this speaker just blew our minds. It's been 2 or 3 weeks ago now, and we are still talking about it as a team because it impacted us so much. I'm going to share you the highlight notes that I took when he was speaking. But before we get into that, if you haven't subscribed to this channel or liked this page, depending where you are watching this, please do so. That would be really fantastic, and you'll be notified of other great videos coming up. So if you're looking to grow a music teaching business, then I am here to help you with everything that I've learned in growing my school from a handful of students in an old garage to a large school with a couple thousand students and a big but awesome music team. Okay, so this speaker, right? We have a staff conference every sort of 3 months, and we get everyone together, and we try to get a guest speaker every time. As well as internally, people speak as well. But we had a guest speaker this time who was a pastor. Other times we've had things like policemen. We've had youth development experts. Sometimes we have something that's just gets us out of our comfort zone. We've had a sign language expert who taught us how to do basic sign language. We've had all sorts of really incredible people, but we got this local pastor who's a young guy, about 35, a really amazing young leader, and he spoke to us on attitude, and it was just phenomenal. And so I'm going to give you some of the notes that I took. And our team's been buzzing about this because we just all got so much out of it, and we all felt like convicted that we had so much to work on individually. And so I'm going to give you my notes, and I'm not going to be able to present it as amazing as he did, but here we go. So he encouraged us to think that our attitude is like an elevator. You know, when you take the elevator or take the lift, our attitude literally takes people like an elevator. We take people up, or we take people down. So he encouraged us to be aware of our attitude. Are we bringing people up, making them feel awesome, or are we taking them down, making them feel crap? Next, we heard that we need to own our attitude, and so many people just blame their attitude on, their current circumstances and what's going on, or just on other people. And so our attitude, we are fully in control of, and we have to own that. And so that was really challenging. The next thing I talked about was how our attitude trumps our emotions, and that even when we're feeling, crappy or sick or just tired or whatever, we can actually still choose to have a good attitude in that time, because our attitude can trump our emotions, and we shouldn't be trying to have our attitude sway with our emotions. And it's okay to, for your emotions to go up and down a bit, but our attitude should try and be constant. And that was a really great thing I know many people needed to hear. Next, he pointed out to us, and he just said, hey, the hardest people to get along with are those that are so inconsistent in their attitude. He talked about someone he knows, and every time he has to pick up the phone to call this person, he just doesn't know what type of person he's going to get on that day. Is this person going to be down in the dumps, or are they going to be super excited and really friendly? And he said the hardest people to deal with are those that have a real inconsistent attitude. So it was a big encouragement there to be level-headed in terms of how we come across with our attitude. Next, he talked about having an attitude of gratitude. And of course, we've heard that stuff before, right? There's all the mindful people, spiritual people, and sort of self-help type people telling us, think positive thoughts. But he went a bit deeper than that, and he was basically saying obviously have an attitude of gratitude. Be thankful for things. Think about the good stuff that's going on. But also start to watch out for when you say things like, oh, I have to go do this. Oh, no, I can't be there because I've got to go do this thing. And he said, instead of saying I have to do something, start saying I get to do something, and just spin that around. And so obviously you got to think about how it comes across, and you don't want to be super cheesy, but the very idea, I think you get the hold of that. Stop sounding like you are ungrateful for some of the things that you get to do. What was next? He talked about having an attitude of optimism and trying to always just assume the best in people. And this was something that made our team laugh, because he said, if you've got someone that's always late in your team, or if they're just late for the first time, if you assume the best in people, you'll create a culture where you say, oh, I know Amy's running late, but there must be a really good reason, because Amy's real trustworthy, and she wouldn't let us down unless there was a really good reason. And he said, if you start talking about people like that, and let people hear that, and let everyone hear everyone talking about everyone in the most positive light, and assuming the best in people, it just radically changes your culture. And then if you have a repeat sort of offender in terms of lateness, well, then it's time to pull them aside and say, hey, I've sort of assumed that, you've had really good explanations, but it seems to keep happening over and over. Could you let me know what's going on? And that was a really cool thing as well. What have I got next here? Just a couple more things. He talked about an attitude of determination, and that idea of, there's a brick wall of something, a problem, a hurdle you've got to get through, and that determination is the person that's just going to get through the brick wall. And sort of setting things like the expectations and setting the desired results. If you're going to delegate something, so those of you that have team members, you would, instead of saying, I want you to do this, and you're going to do it this way, this, and this, you just talked about delegating results. So saying, I want you to produce this, okay? Here's a few ideas how you might get there. I'm going to leave it up to you. And so he talked about if you were in the corner of this building and you told someone, I want you to go out that door and go in this direction, well, then if someone puts a chair in the way and they can't get there, you don't want someone that just goes, oh, cool, I can't get there anymore, and then comes back to the leader or the boss or you and says, I was headed that way, you told me to do it, but then this obstacle happened. He said, if you produce the results, I want you to end up over here. I don't care how you get there, here's a few ideas. Produce the result, then people have to figure out the hurdles along the way. And so he talked about whatever level you're at, push through the hurdles, attitude of determination. And the last quote that I've got down here is he said, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And that was a really cool thing for a lot of people to hear, that so many of the things that people look up to, even for myself in terms of maybe speaking or leading, all these skills have been learnt. And if we apply that attitude of determination, we can actually learn any skills that we want to in order to achieve different things. And so everyone in our team just loved that talk, got a huge amount out of it. And I hope there's something in there about attitude that will help you, because my final addition for myself is that a good attitude won't necessarily guarantee success, right? But a bad attitude will almost guarantee failure, okay? And so you get to choose your attitude, you don't get to choose your circumstances. And so do your best today to try and have a great attitude, because chances are you're going to get thrown all sorts of crap at you, good stuff, bad stuff. You get to choose how you're going to respond, and I encourage you to have an awesome attitude. Cool. Hope that helps you. If you've got any comments, put them down below, and I'll see you in the next little vlog.